Welcome to VHS Sisters, a nostalgic movie podcast with two actual real-life sisters. Get into some jammies, grab your favorite beverage, and come hang out with us as I force my little sister to watch all of the movies that she missed growing up.
Ooh. Guess what?
What?
It's still spooky time.
Woo! Yay!
It's still spooky time, folks, because you know what? We can't just do one or even two spooky movies around Halloween time. We got to keep it rolling.
We're going to keep this thing rolling all the way to December, maybe through December. We'll see.
Because, well, you know what the spookiest season of all is?
It's Christmas.
It's Christmas. No, for real. I think everyone who is a listener and a fan of the show, you know that Halloween is really only the start. Halloween, I like to think of as like second Pride. You get a chance to like roll out like your actually good costumes, because at least Pride in New York City, where I live, it's too fucking hot in June.
It's too hot everywhere in June.
It's humid.
Except for like the southern hemisphere.
Wait, what do you mean by southern hemisphere?
Well, like they experience like winter because the planet has tipped.
Oh, you're talking about like Australia.
Yes.
Should we do another Australian movie this soon?
We probably could, but we'll find out. We'll space it out.
I have a really good Australian movie in mind in the queue, but I feel like it would be really good to do it in like the dead of winter when
everyone wants some warmth.
We want some warmth and some pageantry and some fun. Yeah, we're gonna, for the next, let's just say 2 months, listeners, we're gonna keep it spooky. We're gonna keep the spooky train rolling because Melanie has not seen a ton of spooky movies.
I haven't.
Or if you have, they've been like newer ones.
Newer or like B or C list movies. Nothing like, I don't know, nothing like really prominent in culture, I guess, like maybe in the early 2000s, a couple rando movies that, you know, they stuck with me in some ways, but in other ways, like I could take them or leave them.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, like early 2000s were sort of bleak for horror movies, I believe. Like after Scream, we were like fully like in the reboot phase.
Yeah, a lot of blockbustery hits like Final Destination and stuff. People want to like capitalize off that like blockbustery summer movie.
Yeah, and every poster had like the same shot of like all these shadowy teens on it. It's like, I know what you did last summer.
Yeah.
And like it was always like the same CW cast.
Yeah, like Freddie Prinze Jr. and like Sarah Michelle Gellar.
That was their time, honestly.
And they're still married.
They're still married and still gorgeous. Wait, have you ever seen The Faculty?
No.
Oh boy, it's going on the list.
Put it on the list.
We'll put it on the list. Put it on the list. You know, this show's never going to stop because we have so many movies to watch and rewatch. And I tell you what, listeners, I have had such a fun time revisiting this movie that we are covering today, which is the 1992 classic Francis Ford Coppola, Bram Stoker's Dracula. I watched this around 1992. I would have been 11 years old. But first, before we get into my memories, let's discuss, do you, Melanie, have any memory of this movie, the trailer, it being on? Like, what is your relationship with this movie?
So as like for an early memory, I don't really have any. More recent adult, I'd say in the last 5 years, due to my interest in romantasy and things of that nature, getting suggestions on all of the doom scrolling apps, of like, you know, what romance is supposed to be like and all of these things and yearning and, you know, so like good examples of that. So like I've seen, you know, Gary Oldman in the iconic costume with the glasses, couple fashion moments really, but then that's pretty much it. Like I've not watched the film ever.
So your references for the movie are mostly from the TikTok, is what you're saying.
I would say the TikTok for sure.
So, you know, you've seen like some slowed down like 80s love song, and then you're going to get like an edit of Winona Ryder and Gary Oldman looking at each other through like steampunk London, getting horny as hell for each other.
I would say that's pretty much it.
So was your interest at least piqued when I suggested this? Okay, cool.
And I'm fortunate for my general avoidance into like what, I mean, it's not that I don't watch new things often. I tend to be a comfort watcher and I love to like rewatch things, older movies, things that I've seen a few times just for background noise while I do other things.
Mm-hmm.
So like I've had this one on my list, but I've not taken the time to watch it, which, you know, is great timing for this podcast now. So we're able to discuss.
Because that's the thing. Yeah, I'm also bad at watching new stuff. Obviously, I have created a whole podcast, which is just a rewatch podcast for me. So that's a treat. And I realize it is harder to watch new media because you don't have a relationship with it. But I felt like my idea for this podcast, like we haven't really gotten into this before. Like we started this when you were living in New York City a couple years ago now.
In a way, yeah.
And I feel like we were hanging out a lot and didn't necessarily like have the resources to like go out and do a lot of stuff.
Nor did we even want to, let's be honest. I love a comfy couch, you know.
I love a comfy couch. You know, we're still very much in a pandemic and I don't want to be out in a crowded space with people hacking all over me.
Cold and flu season is starting and it has started. Basically it's time to chill. Like if you don't have to go out or expose yourself, or if there's like not an event that you're like desperately trying to do,
right?
Like hold it in a little bit. You know, and then maybe prepare yourself, take care of yourself before you go out there. You know, don't go out when you're sick, stay home.
Oh, there are so many people who still do not understand that concept.
I know it's upsetting, but you know, the world keeps moving and life finds a way.
Life, you know what? It does find a way. And I like to find myself on a cozy couch on a crispy fall night.
Yeah, and like a cup of tea and a dessert.
And dessert. And I'm going to sit down and watch myself a not super historically accurate period movie about a vampire and the woman he loves.
Yes.
So, yeah, I was really excited to show you this. Again, my context, my background with the movie is I saw this. And what I do believe is I was not old enough to watch this movie and fully understand, because as I was rewatching this time, I was like really trying to remember how I felt watching it. And I remembered being very confused as an 11-year-old because I didn't, especially like towards the end, I was like, this is getting a little, the plot is straightforward in a way, but there's a lot of confusing stuff that happens specifically in regards to like the transitions, which were very artistic decisions by Francis Ford Coppola.
The notes I have on that.
I'd love to hear the notes. And now I'm older and I have a knowledge of film and filmmaking and can just yap about it for hours. And I would love to talk about like, I really want to like keep it to your impressions, and I will nerd out a little bit.
Oh, please do.
There's so much to talk about. I want to start with, before we start like breaking down the movie a little bit, this script was actually presented to Francis Ford Coppola by Winona Ryder, who he had tried to work with in Godfather 3, but for reasons she had to drop out. So I don't know if you've ever seen The Godfather 3.
No.
Have you seen any of The Godfathers?
I've seen the original, but not like start to finish.
Got it. I mean, you should watch 1 and 2 and 3. It's good for the third one is.
It's bad, right?
It's notoriously bad. Yeah. I mean, I think everyone agree. And it's one of those things like, I'm sure if you rewatched it, you'd be like, I've seen worse.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's not great because he cast the role that Winona Ryder was supposed to play.
His daughter, right?
So Sofia Coppola, brilliant filmmaker who we love, you know, who made Virgin Suicides and Marie Antoinette. She's a brilliant director. As far as acting goes, though, that was just not her path. And so anyway, long story short, Winona Ryder and Francis Ford Coppola had a bit of a tiff because he was annoyed at her for dropping The Godfather 3, and she got in contact with him and she's like, I'm really sorry I had to do that. I wasn't up for it. However, I do have this script, which is a new take on Bram Stoker's Dracula. Will you read it? And he was just like, oh my God, yes, I loved the book. Let's do it. And he was down for whatever. And he was very like, I will say this one is a real treat if anyone has the ability to watch it on VHS. Because at the end of the original VHS, once you got past the credit sequence, there was a whole how this movie was made documentary.
Oh.
Which is available on YouTube. And I will link for all the listeners and I will send to you. It is just as good as watching the movie. I think
I would love to watch it.
It's incredible because it really gets into how he wanted to make this movie, since the book was set around the 1890s, which was when like film was being invented. He wanted it to be sort of a love story, not just between Dracula and Mina, but also like it's like a love
an homage to film.
Not an homage,
history.
but it was meant to feel like a love letter to the art of filmmaking. There's no like green screen used. There's no CGI used. And I just also want to mention this quick little fun fact that in the beginning of the making of the movie, Francis Ford Coppola fired his special effects team.
Oh.
Because they suggested that they wanted to use CGI. And he was like, absolutely not. He fired them and he hired his son, Roman Coppola, who had zero experience.
You know, keep it in the family.
That's what he's always done. And so they did everything. And I'll bring up like certain points as we like go through it. If anything like really stood out to you, everything was done like in camera. Everything was done like, I'm just thinking of like one scene in particular where there's that shot when Keanu Reeves as Jonathan Harker is in the train and he's traveling to Transylvania. And you see like a map over his face that was done by projection. Like they just projected a map on his face. This was not like done after at all. Everything was done. So like he's on the train and then you see like the train going over the journal he's writing. And that's like a miniature train. Everything is mini. Dracula's castle is a mini. Dracula's mansion in London is a mini. It's all little foam houses.
I will say I was very inspired and I didn't want to do any deep diving after watching it because I wanted to just give my reaction,
yes,
as it is.
This is why we're here. Yeah.
This is why we're here. So I did look on YouTube because I'm like, I want to see like some yearning videos, and I did watch like 5 minutes of something where they're talking about like making the model of the castle.
Yes.
And I kind of clocked that in the beginning too, where like it looks like it's a person on a throne.
Yes, it's so good. And
they confirmed it for me.
It's a person. Yeah, his Dracula's castle. Like when you first see it, it's they built it all out of like foam core, probably just like a little mini dollhouse, and it's like in silhouette. It's just him. Dracula sitting on a throne. And I was like, oh, it's so good. It's so spooky. Yeah. Like right from let's just start from the beginning. Like, how was that opening for you?
I liked that we got like a history lesson in the first minute of the movie, talking about like the fall of Constantinople. Right. Yeah. And going over what's bringing them to their battle scene, essentially, where Dracula was a knight.
Well, yeah. It's a little bit of like this is their take on it, right?
Okay.
This is their interpretation. But yeah, he was like basically a Templar knight in a way. He was like defending Christianity from the Turks, which was like a big deal back in the day. And like they had holy wars for like literally hundreds of years. Yeah, I really love the use of shadow puppetry.
Oh yeah,
in the beginning,
showing the battle.
It's all dolls and puppets and shadow puppets sort of done like, I think that's the thing, like me watching this at 11, I was enraptured by like all the theatricality of it. It really is kind of like watching a little play because they actually didn't invest like a ton of money in sets. As you can see, everything is just like a set. Everything is like on a sound stage. They didn't actually shoot in London. It was all Hollywood sound stage.
Yeah.
Everything was puppets. And he was just like, we're not going to really spend that much on sets. So everything kind of looks like a little school play-ish. The money, the budget, all went to costumes.
And it was spent very well, I will say that.
Oh, we're going to have the fashion corner on this episode. I hope we can really get into it. We're in the movie. We realize that Dracula, who was fighting to defend Christianity
in his like muscle suit. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we could, yeah.
His muscle armor. That was my second note.
we can't not talk about that muscle suit. It is so good and so creepy. And so like the silhouettes and all the costumes are incredible. All the costumes famously made by Eiko Ishioka, who was a Japanese graphic designer. She was this legendary artist, and she had never done costumes for a movie before.
Insane.
This was her first film as a costume designer. I think she'd collaborated with like Miyazaki on like different art projects in Japan. She's mostly like a graphic artist.
Okay.
And Francis Ford Coppola knew her because she designed the movie posters for the Japanese release of Apocalypse Now.
Okay.
And he loved her art style. And he's like, I'm going to give her all the money and just like let her go crazy.
Yeah.
And she did. And I watched some behind the scenes stuff with her, and she had like, I don't think she'd ever read Dracula, the book. She had like no reference for like vampires, but she kind of knew the story. And she was just like, okay, I see this as like a meeting of Eastern and Western culture. And I think I just bring that up because you can see it from like, once you see that armor, I think you can see like how it's kind of samurai inspired.
Yeah.
Too.
I can definitely see that.
Yeah, the helmet is very like samurai, and then you have the muscles over the top. It's just so good. This is like, I think out of all the movies we've talked about so far, this is definitely like the most visual. So as you listen to us, if you can just do like a little slideshow in your head, just like Google image all of these outfits that we talk about so you can truly appreciate them. So yeah, here's Dracula. He's coming back in his muscle armor. He finds his wife, Elisabetta, who he loved more than anything. She killed herself because she got some false information that he died. So she jumps in the river. She's dead. And then instantly he's like, yo, fuck God.
Yeah.
I'm over it. Yeah, so he has this big like renouncing God thing. It's very dramatic. We get the titles right away. There's like screaming from the beginning of the movie where you're like, okay, I know what I'm in for.
A little bit. I wasn't totally sure when, like, obviously it was very dramatic, but also once the scene cuts over to Keanu, I was like, I'm not sure where we're going with this.
Oh, please speak more on that. Please speak more on that.
His accent had to be at like 40% opacity. Whereas Winona, I feel like killed it.
Did you though? Did you think she killed it?
I thought so.
Yeah, I guess, I could see she definitely did a better job. I don't want to be rude to any of these actors either. And that's the thing about like Keanu. He is so like universally beloved. And I think even Francis Ford Coppola has said in like interviews afterward, he was like, this guy was trying.
Oh,
This
yeah.
guy, he like really studied hard and he really tried. They cast Keanu because I think that they were trying to cash in on his like teen idol status at the time. He was really having a moment. I think he had already done Bill and Ted. Obviously, I think he'd done Point Break, and they were like, we got to get some like young hot star in here. I think they wanted Christian Slater and Johnny Depp in that role too. I don't know if they would have done any better. Maybe Johnny Depp, but I think that they got Keanu because they thought he was better looking, and he really, really tried to pull out this British accent. And I was like, is it too loose? Like, what's happening with it? I was really trying to figure out what exactly about Keanu Reeves' accent, what was it that was bothering me? And I think it's not that it was like lazy. It's like he's trying to do too much. Like him and Winona Ryder, I know you said you didn't mind her accent so much. No. Both of them come across like they're doing a high school production of The Importance of Being Earnest. Like it's that kind of like, oh, hello, I'm going to go do a job now. I have to go on a train and go to Transylvania. Like, it's like he's trying so hard.
But he just sounds like Keanu, at the same time.
Right. You've never seen the 90s version of Much Ado About Nothing, have you?
No.
Okay, maybe another one for the list. Again, it is a Shakespeare adaptation, so it might be a little, I don't know how much you'll enjoy that. That is full of hot 90s actors like Kenneth Branagh, Emma Thompson, Kate Beckinsale. They're all in it, and he's in it, and he also tries to do a British accent in that movie because they're all doing Shakespeare, and he sounds so bad. It's just so like you cringe the whole time. You're like, Keanu, no. And it's funny because Francis Ford Coppola was like, the man was trying. He was really trying. I loved him. He was such a sweetheart to have on set. Everybody loved him. He worked so hard, but damn, that boy could not do a British accent.
No, the man tried.
After the prologue, we meet Jonathan Harker, played by Keanu Reeves, right away. And he has to go to Transylvania because Renfield, who was the realist, this movie is really a cautionary tale on the dangers of being a real estate agent.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So Keanu has to go take a train all the way to Transylvania, which is so far, especially back then, because the other realtor, Mr. Renfield, is now in the insane asylum. And he is played by, do you know who the actor who played Mr. Renfield is?
No.
Okay. That's a guy called Tom Waits.
Oh, okay.
Do you know, have you heard of him?
Isn't he a musician?
He is a musician. Okay, cool. Yeah. So you have a little reference. Yeah, he is a super famous, I would say, like eccentric kind of musician, and he's sort of known for like, I'm an old timey man, and he's got a voice like this, and he's got, he does a lot of like experimental jazzy bluesy type things, and he has a very distinctive voice, which you definitely hear. And he's not an actor at all. And
he was doing great.
He was doing great. He looks great. He's like in this steampunk asylum. He's got these little cages on his hands.
Yeah, people with cages on their heads.
Cages on their heads, cages on their hands. I heard
Bite prevention.
That the costume designer Aiko, she designed the hand thing that Renfield wears after. It's like a finger correction thing that they had in Victorian times. If you wanted to like basically like break your hands and lengthen your fingers to play piano better.
Oh, wow.
Which is crazy. It's a crazy choice. So like, yeah, all these little, like, I can't think of another word to describe them, but like steampunk.
Yeah, I know.
Instantly you're in like steampunk turn of the century London. And we realize that Keanu's got to go check out their client all the way out in Transylvania.
I guess because he's a rich client and he wants to buy like 10 properties, and they're like, okay, this is our payday. You better go,
Basically, yeah, they get to the plot of it like super quick. They're like, yeah, this is a guy who's very high maintenance. He does have a lot of money. Money talks. You better get on that train. You better get on that cursed train.
Yeah.
Go all the way out to Romania and meet this guy. So yeah, you meet Keanu, you meet Winona. You felt like Winona did a pretty good job. Keanu, not so much.
Not so much, no. I was like, okay, I was kind of like over his scenes a little bit. I was just like waiting for something to pop off, and it did, you know. When he arrives in Transylvania, I feel like he's so chill, and that could just be like the nature of Keanu. But it's like he almost seemed too relaxed considering like this insane castle that he had to pull up to and like meeting the one and only. I was thinking like considering how much craziness was around him, his face was so relaxed. Like,
yeah, they say that acting is all in the eyes, and he's very flat. You know, he's how do I want to say? I was gonna say he comes across as very flat.
mhm.
He's not super reactive. He's just very like taciturn, and all the scary shit is popping off, as you say, around him. He arrives in the middle of nowhere. A Romanian woman in the carriage he's traveling in gives him like a special little amulet. So
a cross.
she gives him a cross. She's like, it's dangerous out there. You'll need this.
Right.
And then he's immediately confronted by wolves, which, by the way, they used real wolves in this movie, not dogs.
Or at least like I thought they were maybe like the hybrid.
No, baby, they were real wolves. And Francis Ford Coppola was like, they were actually really difficult to control. I was like,
no shit.
Yeah, they're wolves. They don't bow to you. Okay. Yeah, they wanted to be as authentic as possible, even though, like I said, they were using all sets. It was not done on location. So everything, again, has this very sort of like stagey quality to it. Even when they arrive to the castle, which is like this miniature made out of foam, all of this stuff is like old school camera work leading up to the big reveal of the castle. And of course, Gary Oldman as Dracula. What were your first impressions of Gary Oldman as Dracula?
Looked very corpse-like, very white, obviously, in the face, very dead.
Very Caucasian.
But I was like, here is Gary Oldman, one of our finest actors, wearing this titty wig, sauntering about the castle.
The hair, I believe, was based on French aristocracy.
Uh-huh.
He enters wearing a kimono, which is another
like nod to the designer.
It's a tip of the hat. Yeah, meeting that Eastern Western culture. He's got dragons embroidered on the robe, which is like dragon, Dracula, that whole connection. But yeah, I know that the costume designer wanted him to appear different every time you see him. He is a shapeshifter. Mm-hmm. He is not just male, but female. He's in multiple costumes. He sort of like transcends time and gender, which I think is such like a progressive interpretation. Like we as Americans are so used to like the Bela Lugosi, the black cape turning into a bat. And like the first time we see Dracula, like you said, he's got like this butt wig on. He got that booty wig on his head.
On the spectrum of vampire, you know, he goes from flamboyant to creepy to just like putrid.
Yeah, many incarnations of Dracula. And yeah, he runs the gamut throughout the movie. First time we see him, though, he is like fully decrepit, but also like very regal. It's funny in my notes here. I was like, so they get right to dinner and I was like, wow, Keanu gets a whole roast chicken. Damn, that's nice. I don't know if you clocked that. Yeah, I remember like as a child being really confused about like the logistics surrounding the journey from London to Transylvania, like having just like a rough idea of like how long that would take. I also like wasn't sure what Keanu's job was. Like now I'm like, oh, he was like a real estate lawyer. But at the time I was like, what is a solicitor? Yeah. What even is that? And I was like, why does he even have to go? Okay, he's going, I guess.
Right.
So that was
send
like
him a letter, you know?
Yeah. Were you creeped out at all? Like, did this seem like a horror movie to you? Or like, what was your general feeling in the beginning of the film?
So I'm not going to say entirely, like, it didn't feel like a horror film. Like, I will say, okay, in the beginning, the camera work and the use of shadow definitely made me feel like, okay, this is going to be a scary movie.
Okay.
But there were a lot of like other undertones to it because like he was so heartbroken, like back in, when the religious wars, he was so heartbroken over his lost love. Like it seemed like it was going to be a romance.
Sure.
I will say in the scenes with Keanu, with Jonathan and Dracula in the beginning.
No, we could just say it's just Keanu.
It's just
Keanu being Keanu. Yeah,
exactly.
Totally.
That part to me, I did feel that little bit of like that horror or suspense or thriller sort of thing because of the way the shadows would move and how he would come up to him and like help him shave and like, just really put the creep mode on. And like I said, with the lack of face acting from Keanu, I was like, man, I'd be freaking out. What are you doing right now? Like you're not aware of these surroundings, or he's just trying to get his coin, trying to please the client.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of disconnect. Like, obviously, the look is great and the visuals are great, but there's a little bit of disconnect in the beginning because Gary Oldman is out here doing his best, really giving like 150, and Keanu is like, it's like, go on, girl, give us nothing.
Give us nothing.
He's just, like they say, like, you're only good as an actor. You're only as good as your scene partner, right?
Yeah.
So I can only imagine like Gary Oldman being like this veteran of like the British stage and screen. I also forget, like, I watched a lot of interviews with Gary Oldman talking about this movie. There's a YouTube video that's been making the rounds of him arguing with the director, Francis Ford Coppola, about like, he's in that castle scene and he's trying to like hit his mark and do a scene as he's talking to Keanu, and they didn't like give him a mark to start his line. And he gets really frustrated. And I forgot like what, like a South London accent he had. He's like, come on, what you want me to do here? He's like, he just like fully goes like street. He just gets down and dirty. And he was just like, you're not telling me what I need to do, And it's just funny because he's still in like full Dracula makeup, obviously. And I was like, Gary, I fucking love you. That's
some real accent work right there.
He's a Southie. Yeah, he's South London. His dad was like a sailor. I mean, he's just like, he's middle class, like lower middle class. And he just like worked his way up. Yeah, I always forget that. Because he's done so many different accents in so many different movies. I'm like, oh, that's right. That's actually where you're from. He's doing his best with Keanu. Dracula eventually sees Mina's picture and he realizes that like, she's the doppelganger for his long deceased wife.
Oh, yes.
He flips out. And then, you didn't feel like it was a horror movie. And I would say, just going like piggybacking off of that, I don't think it is a horror movie. And that's kind of why I loved it. It's a romance movie.
Yeah.
The arc, it's a romantic arc. The character of Mina is really the star. And she goes from being this very like protected, repressed, sort of like a stereotypical late Victorian buttoned up kind of woman who doesn't want to talk about sex
where
at
she's
all.
like looking at the book and there's like a drawing of almost like a Kama Sutra kind of thing.
It's a copy of the Arabian Nights.
Okay.
Yeah. Totally.
And so she's looking at that. She's like, oh, how grotesque.
Right. And yet her horny Slatina friend, Lucy.
Oh, Lucy is a hoe. And I kind of love her, I mean, she's a problem, but I love her. She's so thirsty.
She's the best in this movie. And I want to say, now that we're talking about the girls, because this is like a girls movie. This movie's for the girls and the gays. Yeah. I just want to say, and if you don't like it, it's because you're not one of us. All right. This is the two of them and like how they're dressed differently. It's such like a design choice. And you know me, I'm like big into historical dress and like historically accurate dress. I want to say nothing that they wear is historically accurate, but I don't give a shit. Because it is so good. It's like storytelling. The costumes are like their own characters. And like, you can see that through Mina's silhouette. Everything with good fashion is about silhouette. You know this. So she's like completely buttoned up tight to the neck. She's got her bustle. She's like fully corseted. Whereas like when you meet Lucy, you can see she's in this almost like fairy tale princess off the shoulder, more sheer kind of number.
It looks like something that's been interpreted in modern fashion from this brand called like Love and Lemons or some shit. And it's like,
I don't know that one.
It's very whimsy. There's a lot of prints. You know, it's almost like a Selkie dress, but different.
I know Selkie,
this one's more like a milkmaid style dress.
Yeah,
flowing, different colors. Looks like a satin maybe, or chiffon.
It's chiffon. It's light. It's off the shoulder. Like they would have never had like having something off the shoulder like that. It's like you might as well be wearing a bra and panties out there.
And she was, let's be honest.
and she was fully naked.
She was fully nude.
It's so funny. I was texting you as I was watching this the other night, and I was like, yeah, I think this is the first movie I've forced you to watch that has boobs in it.
Yeah.
And oh boy, there are boobs.
Apparently in the Dark Crystal, the puppets were supposed to have, you know, genitals, but they got rid of that. They edited that out because they figured this is not for children.
You cannot.
Although all the other dark themes, you know, let's argue that that's for children.
You cannot stop talking about the Gelfling genitalia.
I can't.
I love that. Now you're obsessed. See, you didn't want to watch the movie and now you're obsessed with it.
It's very interesting, I will say.
It is interesting, and just like the amount of effort.
A great movie with practical effects, you know?
Yeah, all practical. Yeah, no, Francis Ford Coppola, much like Jim Henson, was just like, no, we're going to do this the old school way. We're not going to use CGI. We're going to do it all like everything has this very like, I just think it's so cool. It's like if it couldn't have been done in like the early days of film, they didn't want to do it. However, the costuming is very modern and it still works. Like, you know, all those first dresses we see, Mina and Lucy's got that snake dress. I don't know if you noticed that, like when all of her suitors come in, her three different suitors, and she has this green sort of off the shoulder dress with like a snake print. It's like a light green.
Okay, I'm not sure if I noticed that one so much. I one of her dresses that I really admire is the red one, but we'll get to that.
We'll get to that one. You know, this is like when they're having a little party in the beginning,
and everyone shows up. She goes, "Oh, the Texan. Oh, the doctor. Oh, this and that." You know, it's just like she's just greeting all her suitors, and I'm like, "Girl, you a mess." But also, these guys are out here simping for her. They know what they're getting into.
I love that they simp for her. I love the dynamic between all three of her suitors, which are in the book, by the way.
Okay.
And usually because Dracula has been adapted multiple times, like so many times. And usually they just kind of like squish all the suitors into one character, which is what you do because it's a movie and you just don't have the time.
Yeah.
But they're like, no, we're going to do it like it is in the book. So she does have three suitors. She has the English Lord Arthur, who's played by Cary Elwes. We have the Doctor, who is played by Richard E. Grant. And then I cannot remember the guy who plays the Texan, but he was in The Rocketeer. I cannot remember his name, but it's
me.
It's whatever. He was cute.
Yeah.
I liked his Texas vibe.
Who was the hottest of the three, do you think?
Oh, that's a good question. Like, who would I pick if I was Lucy? I mean, Cary Elwes, especially in that time.
Yeah, he was just peak.
He was peak. Like, this was his like just after Princess Bride. And like also he's British, so like you have that in common, and he's like, I want to say landed gentry, or he has some kind of family money, so like way more of like a secure choice.
Sure.
As a husband. Texas guy's gonna have Texas money,
which, you know, in the future probably would work out pretty well.
I mean, sure, Texas money is Texas money, but like back then it would have been very like, I don't know, it would have definitely been like marrying down.
For sure, until they found that black oil.
Until they found that black gold Texas tea. I don't know, like me, Saysha, I mean, I love Richard E. Grant. I don't know if you know him as an actor.
Not necessarily.
We haven't really gotten to a ton of British movies yet, but you will see Richard E. Grant popping up a lot. He has just been in like everything. If there's a period drama If there's a British drama set in old times, he's in it.
Oh yeah.
And he's acting.
He's working.
He's a working actor. Yeah, he's great. So yeah, I love the dynamic between all the three suitors. And I love that they have this vibe in the movie where it's like, you can tell they all vibe with each other. And that was because Francis Ford Coppola, like before they started shooting the movie, had everybody come out to his Coppola Vineyard ranch beforehand.
Does, yeah.
But like they did like an actors theater camp and they sat around the table and they read the script and he's like, okay, all three suitor actors, you go off and do like hot air balloon rides together and go ride horses. It was just like such a vibe. And then the only person that he isolated was Gary Oldman because he didn't want he didn't want Dracula getting to know anybody. It's kind of like what we were talking about with It. Like the vibe was so different because Tim Curry was like, I don't want to talk to these kids.
Yeah.
And Bill Skarsgård in the remake was like, these kids are my friends. And like, clearly the remake sucked dick. So you can see.
Goes to show, don't be friends with anyone.
Don't be friends. Well, yeah, if you're going to be enemies on screen, you kind of have to hate each other in real life.
Yeah. It does help with the chemistry.
Right. And whereas like, yeah, you can tell like, all of Lucy's suitors are like they all know they're simping for the same girl, but they're like, yeah, I think you're a cool dude. Yeah. And it's just like, you know, if it doesn't work out, let's go hang out and get a beer after.
Right.
And I live for that kind of wholesome vibe that's like stuck in this very, I don't know, over the top movie. It kind of grounds it for me. So yeah, we meet the girls, we meet the suitors. I think at this point too, we meet my favorite neurodivergent king, who is Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah. You're talking about Van Helsing?
I'm talking about Van Helsing, the doctor.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. We're talking about Van Helsing, the doctor, who is the legendary vampire hunter played by the even more legendary actor, Anthony Hopkins. And how did you feel about his portrayal?
I thought he was fabulous.
Okay.
I want to say I have a list of iconic quotes from this movie, and one of them is "yeah."
One of them is just J-A. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what accent he's doing. The character of Van Helsing is Dutch.
Well, Dutch is similar to German, so they would probably say "yeah" as well.
Definitely, yeah. Isn't the saying what do they say Dutch is? You would know.
I always say that it's drunk German.
It's like they're just like a little off.
Tons of vowels, similar words, but it's just like I guess if you're German, you could probably understand like 60 to 70% of what someone's saying.
Yeah, it's close enough you could get the gist.
Right.
I remember as a kid being really confused by Anthony Hopkins' performance. And now as an adult, I fucking love it. Ryan was like, Van Helsing is so autistic. And I was like, he's just like in his own world. He has no idea of like social cues.
He's brilliant.
He's great. He is having so much fun. Yeah, he's killing it right from the get-go. So like
he gets called in because Lucy is more hysterical.
Well, he gets called in because he knows Jack, the character of Jack who works at the asylum. Okay. And he's the Richard E. Grant character who has been monitoring Renfield. See, he's been all crazy. He's like, what are you talking about, your master? And then he also notices that Lucy has recently gotten weird. So he's noticing all these things. And he's like, well, my teacher mentor guy, Van Helsing, would know. He's talked to me about stuff like this before. Let me get on the horn. Like, I don't know if they had phones back then. Write him a letter. Cause like,
let me send a pigeon.
Well, like that's the thing too. The whole original book, you never read the original Dracula. It's fine. You don't have to. It's not great. The various interpretations of it are so much better.
Sure.
But it's very like, it's what they call like an epistolary novel, which is, it's all done in letters. So you're reading like Dr. Jack's letter and it's like, oh, you better come here. Oh, now we get a letter from Mina. Now we get a letter from Jonathan. So you're just reading the story through the perspective of people as if you're reading like a bunch of letters.
I see.
Which is like cool. Yeah. I think it's interesting. Yeah. So Jack gets a hold of Van Helsing and he was just like, this girl who I was courting, Lucy, she's gone crazy. I'm forgetting now how she initially gets turned. Like, is it the red dress wolf beast
I think it
scene?
is the red dress scene.
So we can just talk about it. You were living for that dress.
I was living for the dress. I was living for the drapery of it all.
Yes.
It was like a corset, almost like woven dress with all this red material flowing, and like watching her go through the garden with it gracefully falling in the air. And this was all like camera choice as well. Like the lighting was great. It's dark, it's creepy. She's dancing her way around out there. She's feeling herself, she's moving so sensually through this dark, stormy garden scene.
She
for
is.
her to be found by Mina getting dicked down by this monster.
I was wondering how you're going to describe it, but I don't think that there's any other way to describe it other than she getting dicked down by this wolf beast man.
Oh yeah.
And it's probably, again, watching this at 11,
probably not appropriate.
Definitely not appropriate. We'll have to ask our mother about that. What kind of supervision was going on? But I will say
at that time I was a baby.
She was, Melanie, you weren't even born yet?
I was born in 92.
But like what? You were born in March?
Yeah. What month did this movie come out?
Great question. I'll look it up as we're chatting. Maybe you would have been like a just newborn, but you would have been like that baby that Dracula fed to his slut wives.
Wow. Yeah, pretty much. Let's talk about them too, because Jonathan was in the orgy scene.
Right. I was going to say all these orgies are happening at once. I don't want to leave the beast man quite yet.
No, I do love him.
And then we can talk about the vampire orgy. Because all this horniness, this is a very horny movie. Okay. And all this like sluttiness is happening at once. Before Lucy gets dicked down by the wolf beast, there's a scene where like she's running around the garden with Mina and they smooch.
They do.
So there's a little bisexual energy there.
They're like, let's practice. Ha ha ha
ha ha, kissing. And then right after that, she's out here getting boned by this wolf beast. And I was like, did this awaken feelings in me? Maybe.
Does this answer my question as to why I read the books I read now,
Why did I start reading wolf shifter fan fiction?
Right.
On Angel Fire.
Oh my gosh.
And
before my time.
I know you haven't seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but we can.
So sorry, podcast listeners.
It's okay. But I think we can draw a clear line from like watching movies like this to watching supernatural teen dramas in the late 90s, early 2000s, and then rediscovering horny shifter fantasy in the present day. So it's, what? Time is a circle.
Time is a circle.
All I got to say, we just have to repeat patterns until we learn our lessons.
For sure.
So I want to say real quick, beast bucking scene. And then you like see his face. And it's like literally the scariest thing I've ever seen.
And he's kind of like man, bear, pig,
He's man, bear, pig. And I want to say like every time you see Dracula, like I said before, he looks different because this whole shapeshifter thing, like he has to have some different version of himself. But that's all Gary Oldman in like so much. Yeah, no, they got him when he's the wolf, when he's the old guy, when he's the hot young guy, when he's the bat later. That's all him.
Wow.
So it's crazy.
That's incredible, actually. I didn't know that. I was going to ask that too and see like who did what. But no, that was all him.
He's committed.
That's awesome.
He's committed and he was in it. And I think it like mentally broke him by this movie. But I think in an interview I saw him say that this was like the physically hardest thing he'd ever done. But so we got so you're feeling great about that about that wolf sex scene. The beast.
Honestly, I loved it, to be honest. I was like, wow, girl, like I no wonder she was compelled, by the dark forces.
Yeah, she's like, I got it. She's like, I'm about to be married soon. I better like get out here.
Get it while I still can.
And in the meantime, Jonathan is out here being a bad boy.
Yes.
And just rolling around in the sheets with a bunch of vampire sluts
that bed made me just think of like how I would love to have a California king or like just massive like room that is just bed. I've always thought about that as a kid where you just like crawl in.
Oh yeah, you want maybe like a 70s style like love pit kind of bed.
Like a conversation pit, but it's just bed.
It's just bed, and like maybe you got a TV, and but yeah, the whole room is bed. That's exactly where he was on that California King.
Yeah, he's on that Wyoming King.
Totally, and yeah,
out comes the ladies. Well, he gets called to by what he's imagining to be Mina.
Correct.
And so he like, feels the urge to lay down and get comfortable. But, out comes these very beautiful women, nicely styled. It seemed like one, like her ringlets reminded me of like snakes. They seemed very like shifty as well.
Costumes were based on, I think it's Alphonse Mucha is the artist. Yeah, I think you know who that is. Like turn of the century Art Deco-ish, like how they sort of wanted everything to be kind of like ancient Greek again. They have kind of like a Byzantine look to them. One of the brides of Dracula is the actress Monica Bellucci. Do you know who she is?
Yes.
Okay. Super hottie. Also did like runway modeling. Yeah. She's like, I think she's the first one whose like head peeks out from between his legs. I have a note here, which is like, did they bite Keanu in the dick?
They should have.
It looks like that happens for a moment. Yeah, a lot of crazy like reverse camera work. I know they worked with dancers to get like this sort of very bizarre like reverse camera reapy thing going on when they were like, when Dracula comes out and like calls them out, they sort of retreat and they're all like all creepy looking.
They shift back.
They shift back. Yeah. So you were living for that. You love the orgy scene.
Yeah. The orgy scene was a little more scary, but I'm like, I guess this is all the action Keanu's going to have in this movie anyway. So might as well get it. But I really loved, the monster with Lucy. That made me think.
You're like, different things. Let me go back to that beast bucking scene.
Let's rewind.
Okay. But actually, let's rewind. Let's stop talking about these brides of Dracula. Let's talk about that beast again.
Exactly. Well, no, so I did some quick research and it shows that the movie came out in November of 92.
Okay, so you would have been born.
Yeah, I would have been like that baby who's popular on TikTok right now who's like jamming out to Charlie XCX.
I could not even begin to know what you're talking about. I don't know.
There's a, just like a baby who does tummy time, you're like on the floor scooting around.
I don't want to see any baby content. And if that came up in my feed, I would be like, I would click the X. I would say
not interested.
Not interested. Thank you very much. Yeah. Anything with a baby or like a sick animal, how people like post like sad animal stuff. I'm like, I don't need to see this. See that.
Not a lot of kids in this movie, except for the one that was like the sacrifice.
They're both going to get et. They're just food babies.
Food babies. That's pretty much it. Like everything else is just very adult.
It's sorry. I just looked down at my notes about the beast scene. Ooh. With Lucy, and it just says she's getting bucked on a rock and munched and crunched. She's getting
her munchings and crunchings.
Oh, Dracula's getting his munchings and crunchings.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So like while all that's happening and everyone's finally getting their freak on, Dracula's like, I got to get out of here. And in order to travel to England, I need like 50 boxes of dirt. Yeah. To like make my home in England. So he's like gets, all of his minions. He has like all of these like Romanian folks working for him. They fill up these boxes of soil. We have like one moment with this Dracula costume where he like pops up out of his coffin before he leaves his home. I don't know if you clocked this. This was like a really important fashion moment for me, but he like comes out like he's sort of like projected out of the coffin.
Yeah, instantly 90 degrees.
And he's wearing this gold kimono. Do you remember that? It happened so quick.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you saw, I'll send it to you. But this gold kimono is so crazy beautiful. It's like another choice by the fashion designer Aika, who is like, I want to do this melding of like Eastern and Western fashion.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very much like this vestment that like a religious person in Eastern Europe would wear. But it's based, the pattern is based on the very famous Klimt painting, which is the Kiss.
Oh, yes.
I think we all know this one, that, the very gold and squares. So I'll send it to you. And there's like a picture of the Virgin Mary on the back. So like as a young, like Catholic tween, I was like, ooh.
Ooh, interesting.
Ooh, I love this imagery. Yeah, I think this was the movie that really like kicked off like my deep love of high fashion. And like at the time on VH1, you could watch like Fashion Runway all the time. You could actually like see like London and Paris and New York City runways with like, this is like
cool. Why did they get rid of that? You know,
I don't know. I know that it has to be on YouTube somewhere. Like if you just want to like go down and see like the golden age of like runway modeling, like Linda,
for sure. Yeah,
Linda Evangelista now. Yeah, Linda Evangelista, Naomi, Cindy, you know, all of the greats.
The icons
And the legends. Yeah, this is a great time for fashion. Speaking of fashion, when we get to England, or rather when Dracula gets to England, we get one of the most iconic scenes where we see old-timey, turn of the century London, and it's shot all like herky-jerky. And they actually use like an old British Pathé hand-cranked camera for this. They actually got it. And then for the first time, you see young, hot Dracula who's seeing Mina in the street. Yeah, what? And that has to be the scene when you're looking up yearning TikToks.
Oh,
that has to be the one. Yeah, seeing that actual scene in real life, how did you feel about it?
Well, he seemed a little predatory initially because, you know, he can't leave her alone.
Right.
And she's looking a little like distraught, disgruntled, like she's like in the store trying to, you know, get away. But then like eventually he introduces himself to her and he's like, oh, I'm the prince. I'm Prince of Vlad of what was it? Of Scythe or Scythe?
He makes up some name. I had already forgotten about it. I didn't remember it.
Yeah.
And I just remember he introduces himself as a prince, and then her demeanor like, changes so fast.
Yeah, she's like, oh, my bad. Actually, my name's Mina.
I was going to say, they really talk about it in the beginning, how she's just like a school teacher and Jonathan's poor. So really, she's like, ooh, prince, that perks up my ears when you say that.
Right, because she's hanging out with her rich slut friend Lucy, and he's like thinking that Jonathan's thinking she shouldn't hang out with her because she's going to get disappointed because he can't provide for her like that. But she's like, oh, you know, she doesn't mind that I'm a school maiden. And then, once she gets a whiff of this money and this charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent of this man, she is really, you know, backtracking. She's like, actually, I was rude. I'm so sorry. Let me show you where you wanted to go.
Oh, you wanted to go to the movie theater? I know exactly where that is.
Yeah, just follow me. It's fine. Let's go. And then he's like walking her and he's got his hand like around her back while they're walking. Very bold.
So bold. Inappropriate. His outfit with like the huge stovepipe hat and the little purple glasses. It just gives me life all the time.
Doesn't he say to her also, he says like, see me now?
Yes. Like she's walking down the street and he does basically like this vampire trick on her where he's like, yeah, see me now. And then she's because like,
when he was already there and she's outside with Beastman, which is him, Bones and Lucy. Yeah. He's like, don't see me, you know, like he does like the Men in Black thing to her. Screen goes white. He's like, oops, didn't know you were here.
Right. He's like, I was just out here bucking your friend on a rock. Yeah. That's so funny. The Men in Black thing. He's like, yeah, perceive me, don't perceive me.
Yeah.
He really goes back and forth. He's like, no, wait, I'm not in my good outfit. I'm out here in this like bloody
I'm looking a mess.
Don't perceive me. And now I'm ready.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm in my he's like, I got my hat on. you're in your cute green dress. Let's just have a moment for that incredible green dress she's wearing with the cute little matching hat. And they go to like, I wrote down the word that they used to describe it. I want to call it like a Nickelodeon, but like the first version of a movie theater where you just like stood in a room.
Yeah, with like hay and shit.
Yeah, you were just like, oh my God, let me see this new technology. And it was like crazy back then. It was like crazy to see moving pictures. It was like the kind of thing where like they showed like a moving train on a picture and people ran out because they thought like a train was coming for them. So it was like of that time. And I just think it's cool to have like a movie in a movie. Like that whole scene is so magical when they're like in the theater together. And then this weird subplot about the wolf escaping from the London Zoo because apparently wolves, whenever Dracula is near, they go crazy.
Yeah, they respond to him.
They respond to his alpha male energy.
Ooh.
And so the wolf busts into the theater and everyone's running and screaming and she gets cornered by the wolf. And then Dracula's like, no, wait, see, he's your friend.
Yeah, and she's petting him and, you know, with the leather gloves on the white fur. And I was like, this is kind of sensual.
This is so sensual. And I was like, honestly, if a man wants me to love him, then you better have a wolf befriend me.
I have mentioned this time and time again, but I do love an apex predator as a pet or like a friend, you know? So I'm like, ooh, puppy.
Yeah, no, it's like a killer white wolf. And you're like, doggy.
I'm like, he just wants a steak.
He wants a pet and a little snack. He's good. And yeah, that's all it takes. Like he gets a wolf to befriend her. She's like taken in by his glamour.
Yes.
His vampiric glamour. And then all of a sudden he's taken her on dinner dates in a white suit. They're out here sipping absinthe together.
Yes. And I wanted to note too, because it's again a fashion, but like her outfit changes color when she starts hanging out with him. She's like in more like reds and burgundies and things like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. She's feeling her fantasy with him.
They really do use, I don't think we can talk about the costumes enough. Like there's no fashion corner in this podcast.
Is just a fashion podcast.
This is why I wanted you to watch it. Like there's the costumes are like their own thing. And they really like they pull the narrative along, right? You see her go from like this buttoned up, more muted color character into embracing like these silky, billowy fabrics, the reds, she's just gorge. Yeah, like they're at that one dinner and she's like in full on red and she's just like, can't let my fiance see this. I'm out here wilding out in my freakum dress.
I love it.
They're doing like the whole dating montage of Dracula and Mina. And my note here is like, she is acting out.
That was out of line.
She is acting out of line. Also, let's give a quick shout out to Keanu. They keep flashing back to him in like the vampire sex den.
Yeah.
And he's still out here doing his journaling. Even though he's in this vampire sex den, he's like, you know, day 36, here I am. I was like, let's give it up to Jonathan Harker for still sticking to his morning pages.
He's got his routine. Yeah,
he's got his wellness girly routine down. Just being in a vampire sex den is not going to deter him from self-improvement.
We can appreciate that.
So yeah, that's happening. He's trying to bust out of there. In the meantime, Lucy is in a bad way. Her friend Mina is off like dating this guy and she's suffering because she's obviously been like bit by a vampire. She's turning. They don't know what's wrong with her. I think it's really cool. Like all of the early, which would have been like extremely, I think, advanced medicine at the time. But to us, it looks scary and crazy.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
And like, can you imagine like being in a medical facility and like having like this blood transfusion take place?
I know it's like Victorian medicine, but she got so lucky with that blood transfusion. Like she must have been, I think it's like AB positive is the universal receiver.
Right.
She could just take any blood. But if she was anything else, that would have been it for her.
Yeah, like how many times did they have to do blood transfusions before they figured out there were different bloods?
Right.
I think about shit like that all the time. I was just like, they just tried it and they were like, okay, hope this works, whatever. Yeah, like all the old medical tools, like in the asylum, the tools that Dr. Jack has and that Van Helsing uses, like all the old pumps and the thing. I was just like, it is crazy steampunk medical horror. So if anything, that's the scary thing. It's like, if you've seen The Exorcist, like the scary part isn't so much the demon possession, but all the medical tests that she has to go through to figure out that she is being possessed by a demon. Like they give her a CAT scan and all the shit. And I was like, and it's like a full on CAT scan. I was like, this looks terrible.
Especially the older one,
The older one is like really rough. Yeah. So like, this is like supreme, like scary medical horror. I think it's really well done.
Yeah.
And we get there's a lot of like blood imagery. I think this also, it's important to note too, that this is sort of like at the height of the AIDS epidemic in the early 90s.
Oh yeah.
And there was all this like fear around blood transfusion and blood in general. So I think he was just like, Francis Ford Coppola has said he was trying to kind of like capitalize on that. And like people were already scared of that. And I was like, yeah, I guess that would be the scary thing, like getting a weird blood transfusion.
I did make a note saying that the amount of blood spurting in this film knows no bounds.
Oh no, they went full on, like, especially, they do all the blood stuff with Lucy. It doesn't work. And then Dracula eventually gets her. And this is after like Mina realizes like, I got to break up with this guy. I gotta, cause she gets the letter from Jonathan, who has escaped from the castle. He busted out of there. He ran away to a nunnery. He sends her a letter. He's like, you got to come all the way out here so we can get married immediately.
Well, doesn't Lucy kind of say that to him or to her too? She's like, just go marry him. He needs you,
Yeah, no, she does. Like, she's like, yeah, you've got to go to him. You got to love him. She's like, don't worry about me. I'm already dying.
Right.
It's fine. So like it all kind of happens at once. The narrative is like I said, watching this at 11 was like a little confusing because it moves so quick too. It's like, okay, now Mina's on a train and she's going to get married in some Russian Orthodox church.
A lot of big themes in this one,
Right. He's like,
a lot to grasp.
Yeah, we gotta consecrate our love. And she's like, okay, I gotta go do the practical thing and go marry my fiance. I can't love this guy, Dracula. She doesn't know he's Dracula, but she's
I can't love this prince.
Right. She's like, this guy is out of my league, or it's not realistic. It's like the crazy love that like is not gonna last. She's trying to be practical. Lucy stays home and gets destroyed by Dracula. The room explodes with blood. She's dead. And then we get maybe the fiercest costume ever, which is her bridal gown, which turns into her funeral shroud with this huge ruff around the neck. And I do know that the designer, Aiko, was trying to design something that looked like a frilled lizard.
Oh, she succeeded.
She wanted this whole ruff thing to look very like threatening, and it sure did. So yeah, we get this incredible shot of her in a glass coffin.
Yes. And then Dr. Van Helsing's like, I just want to cut her head off and take her heart. Let me know when you guys are done.
Yeah, he's over it. He's just, like I said, like deeply autistic character. He's like, does not understand that's not appropriate to say when she's like not even cold.
Right.
And he's like, okay, once this all wraps, we're going to go in the mausoleum. We're going to kill her because she's undead. And they're all like, oh, okay, I guess. And then we have this incredibly fierce scene where Lucy is now undead. I love the reverse camera work they do when like she comes in and the candles go on and she has this little toddler. She's about to eat the toddler. She's trying to like seduce them again, even in death.
Yeah.
But they're like, no, you got to kill this bitch.
She's like, come give me a kiss.
Yes, Arthur, I love you. Come kiss me.
It's funny how like, in death, she's more buttoned up than she was in life. She was very like, she wasn't as like, with that big collar, she's not as like sensuous as she was in the beginning of the film.
Yeah, she's definitely more covered, but like the actress Sadie Frost, she does such a good job. She becomes almost like the thing about vampirism is it's like you're supposed to prey on what people want. Like you're really in tune with people's desires. So she's being very like little girlish and coquettish, you know, and flirtatious and just sort of like trying to, and I think that whole scene is incredible. How she like, they reverse film her like going into the coffin. It's so good. Like all the cool, like in camera tricks, like they just shot her like coming out of the coffin, but in the movie they just play it backwards. So it looks really disturbing. And yeah, they do put a stake through her heart and they cut off her head and that's it for Lucy.
And then meanwhile, Dracula's like suffering because his girl has left him to go get married. And
he's like, spiraling. He's fully spiraling.
He's on the spiral squad. And he's like, I am going to, you know, basically commend her to like a living death is what he calls it. So like, she's just miserable in her marriage, you know, like not feeling satisfied. Like he was really, you know, he was upset. So,
wait, did he say that about Mina or did he mean that about Lucy?
I think about Mina.
I don't know when he's crying in the candles, like that whole thing.
Yeah.
I can't tell. Yeah, that's interesting. I'll go back and look at that because I always thought when he said that he was talking about Lucy, like he was doing that to be like to get revenge.
Oh, to like kill her friend.
To kill her friend to hurt Mina because he couldn't hurt Mina because he loved her, obviously. So he's like, but let me hurt her friend. I don't know. It's unclear. And again, like as a child watching this, there were a lot of times when I was straight up lost and just vibing with the vibes. As I was just like, I love how this looks. I'm not quite sure what's happening. So the narrative does get kind of like, especially towards the end, I would say like the buildup of this movie in the middle part is pretty strong. And then it kind of like unravels at the end. I feel like after Lucy dies, it's just kind of like this, it just kind of like rolls down the hill.
Yeah.
A little bit. It's interesting because at that point, Jonathan and Mina have to come back to England and she's Mrs. Jonathan Harker now. She ends up going to the asylum and Renfield is like, you have to get out of here. You got to get out of here. My master's going to kill you. And he has like a nice little moment with her. I just think it's weird that like everyone acknowledges that like Mina is in danger. They come back to England and they're just like, we're going to take care of Dracula. We've got a plan. Don't worry. But they put her in the safe place, which is the asylum. That's where she is.
Right.
That part was always also, it was very baffling to me.
Because it was guarded, you know?
I guess so. Yeah, it would be like being in a prison, right? It's already like under surveillance.
It's like multiple fences and things of that nature.
Yeah, I think, the ending of this movie was a little mushy for me on rewatch, but I was just like, I was still vibing with it. How did you feel?
I love how like toxic and romantic it was towards the end when Dracula comes in as the green mist.
Oh, you love the mist version of Dracula.
Well, I'll get into my favorite version here in a moment, but it's just like when he finds her in the green mist and like he's, you know, feeling her up and she's waking up to it again. And he's like offering, does he bite her? He bites her first, right? I think.
He bites her first. That's the key. And then he does with his claw. He does a little scrape of his torso
and is like wants her to drink his blood. But then he was saying that he loves her too much to condemn her.
Yeah. So that's
I'm like, oh, gosh.
Yeah. And that's why I think like when he was talking about making her suffer, he was talking about Lucy. He just like had it out for Lucy in the earlier scene. Whereas like when he's trying to change Mina, he finds he can't go through with it. Yeah. I think that's what I got from it.
See, I thought it was the opposite, where it's like he wants her to be so miserable with this man that she chose that wasn't him. And then is like, you know, like when they come back, he started to like see things. He's starting to go crazy a little bit. His hair is like badly spray painted white. And it's like, okay, this like mental toll has happened, you know, so now you're not really getting the man that you originally had.
Got it. Yeah. So he's toxic in that sense too. He's like, fine, be with the other guy, but I hope you suffer.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
I like that too. Yeah. Like you said, the toxic vibes of him wanting to change her, and then he can't go through with it, and they're having this very like, no, we need to, we shouldn't kind of thing.
She's like, do it. I want it. I want to be with you. You know,
she's fully married to somebody else, by the way.
And the people walk in and they see her like writhing in her bed by herself, you know, like, and then here he comes, Mr. Bat Ookie Spooky, the biggest Dracula of Draculas you'll see in this movie.
You just call him Batman.
Batman. He is like 20 feet tall, red, scary eyes.
And
I was like, whoo, okay, now we're getting to like some really interesting forms. He's taken many forms, you know, so I think that this one was by far the most scary, besides maybe like the shrivelly bat one. That one was not exactly appetizing, you know, to look at. I wasn't like, ooh, yeah, he's hot. I was like, oh God, like kill it.
Yeah, no, he goes from very hot to spooky ooky really quick. Yeah, that bat makeup is crazy. He's super scary there. And the whole transition when they catch him, and then he's confronted by Van Helsing, and he's like, your God betrayed me. And Van Helsing's like, get over it. Like, quit ruining people's lives. Like, he calls him out on his bullshit. And Dracula as Batman slinks back into the shadows. You just see his eyes. And then when they shine the light in the shadows, he turns into rats and falls on the floor. I'm like, this is filmmaking. This is what you don't see this shit anymore. You don't see people in fucking Nosferatu, where this movie that people were crazy about. Sorry, I didn't want to talk about Nosferatu. Does he turn into a body of rats? No, he doesn't. And that's why that movie is not as good. Trash movie.
I haven't seen it.
It's fine. It's fine. Watch it if you enjoy Robert Eggers. I don't know. Well, you still haven't seen The Witch.
No.
Which like is not super appropriate for the pod because it's not like a childhood favorite of mine, but maybe we'll watch it when
that's for like our 9th podcast.
Yeah, let's just review modern movies. Yeah, I have bat jump scare and rat jump scare in my notes.
I love it. So well done.
So well done. And yeah, at that point, it's pretty much just like a chase to the end.
Yeah, it almost turns into like a Western at the end.
Oh, yeah, that's a good insight.
Because they're like, okay, we're on this train and we're going to this place. Now we got horses and we're riding around and we got shotguns. And it's just like a chase to find him getting brought back on a carriage, you know, with all of these dedicated workers that he has.
Right, because the whole thing is like he can only travel in the dirt of his homeland,
which is so funny.
It's funny. Well, it also like puts like it's cool, I think, because it puts like a limit on his magic. Otherwise, he would be too powerful. It's like magic in any fantasy novel. You know how it gets out of control sometimes. It's like there has to be like there just can't be powers flying this way and that. Like there has to be rules. Rules are what make it real. So yeah, he's got to get transport. They're basically at the end of the movie, you could tell Francis Ford Coppola is like, okay, we got like 10 minutes. Like, let's wrap it up because this movie is already going to be 2 hours long. So yeah, it's like a quick chase. They're using Mina as bait. Mina, who is essentially turning into a vampire because she got that little bit of blood. She's not quite there yet. So they took her out. And it was like a race to the finish. So like, we got to beat him to Dracula's castle. They all kind of converge at once. When Van Helsing and Mina get there, they're intercepted by the brides of Dracula, who eat a fucking horse, by the way.
Yeah.
I was
horse
like,
death.
No, I was like, no, horsey.
Also done with like shadows, you know?
Yeah, no gore in that sense. Like there's other gory parts, but like a lot of times it's just like they're not going to show an animal death. That's too much.
All the way at the end of the movie, it's just like we got to get on with it, you know?
We got to get on with it. Yeah, and it's like pretty quick. Like it's almost like the ending feels a little anticlimactic because it's just sort of like, you know, all the suitors are at the castle. The Texan guy does die. But it's a pretty like quick stab to Dracula and that's it. And the sun comes up and then they're like, well, he's got to go die now. Mina, go help him die.
Yeah. And like, you know, she seemed like she was pretty enamored with him still, you know, as she's following him into the castle.
100% she's stigmatized by this man.
Yeah, and then good old Keanu is like, our work has finished here. Hers has just begun. And I was like, what? And then it finally cuts to the scene where she's in there with him and she has a little bit of like a come to.
Right.
And she knows that she's got to drive that stake further into him and cut his head off, behead him. And basically that's where the story ends. But she does give him like a creepy kiss on that scary mouth.
Yeah. You didn't love that creepy kiss?
No, I didn't.
You're like, I liked when you were young, hot Dracula. This is not
she was
doing
she
it for
was like,
me.
okay, he is my sugar daddy after all. I better give him a smooch.
Right. He's like old and desiccated. And she's like, I still want that money, daddy. Little peck for you. That's so funny.
Mm-hmm. And then like my final thoughts were like, I go, okay, I get it. Love brings you peace.
Right. Yeah, I think
he finally finds peace in the end.
He finds peace, and it's like, I think this was like a Francis Ford Coppola choice too, because like he's Italian, and Catholic. They really make Dracula into the romantic hero. So he has kind of like his fall from grace. He loses his faith like pretty early on because somebody he loved died. And so there's also like, it's like, yeah, love conquers death, right? But it's not just the love between him and Mina. It's like her purity kind of like brings him back from like cursing God. And it's almost like this, like he gets, like you get a sense like maybe he'll go to heaven or maybe he'll just like not go to hell. It's like there's like a weird religious undertone to it as well. I thought, I'm just like, oh, right. In the moment, like she redeemed him through her love and made him a better person.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a really like, I don't know.
I feel like
takeaway. I feel like if you want to get romantic with it, it's like, you make me a better man is like a trope that like women get so horny for.
I love it. A little bit, it's nice in this sense because you see like his depth of character, how evil he's been, how vengeful he's been. And then like for him to finally like accept, I guess like, or get her on his side, but then like discover that really, she needs to kind of finish this cycle.
She's able to like redeem him and bring him back to his faith and give him peace that like, just because also be like, because somebody dies doesn't mean like it all meant nothing. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like if you're meant to be together, you're meant to be together in all different planes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So it's like, I think it's pretty powerful stuff.
Oh, it's my personality, guys.
So wait, so it seems like I wasn't sure. It seems like we're giving this movie a higher rating. What would you say?
I'm going to give it I want to say either like an A-.
Okay. Wow.
Or could potentially be a full A if it wasn't for our friend Keanu Reeves.
Wow, poor Keanu.
I know. Sorry, bud. I really like him in a lot of other things, but in this movie, it was just hard to watch.
Yeah, he's just miscast. And I think like maybe just like a slight, like Johnny Depp probably would have been a really good choice.
Yeah.
His accent work also sometimes leaves things to be desired, but
he wouldn't have needed much,
as
much work.
He's played like sort of eccentric British characters before, like in you've seen Sleepy Hollow, right? Oh my God. We're going to have so many movies for spooky time and all winter long.
I love it. But I want to do something here as we start to wrap up our long review.
Of course.
I want to give some iconic quotes from the movie that I loved.
Melanie's Quote Corner, new segment, guys. Here we go.
Quotes of the movie.
Quotes of the movie.
Okay. One is, the blood is the life.
Yes. Love
the other being, I have crossed oceans of time to find you.
Of course. Yeah, incredible. Who could resist that? Resist.
I love though when Mina's writing a letter, she says, perhaps though I try to be good, I am bad.
Yes. Yeah, no, this is like some top-notch script writing.
Another one being with Dracula saying, "Look what your cult has done to me."
Yes.
Fucking iconic.
Yeah, no, I love how defiant he is.
And then in the end where Mina's kind of having this like, I guess, battle in herself where she's like starting to turn into a vampire and then, you know, still remaining Mina, she's saying like, unclean, unclean, I'm unclean.
Oh, right. Yes, that's right. Yeah, she's having a real like spirit. So she's having some spiritual warfare there at that point.
And then the last one is obviously, yeah.
Yeah, those are all your quotes. And then you just like, I love what like sticks with people. And again, you don't really see a movie like this anymore.
No, not at all. And I thought it was just fabulous. So like, I can't wait to rewatch it again. In fact, I had it down a little bit before we started potting. And I got up to the infamous beast in the red dress scene, which leads me to my question for you.
Of course.
Which was your favorite Dracula beast form?
Oh my God, that's a great question. I mean, I think the first one my favorite beast form?
I would say, I mean, you could say any form, I guess, but we all know we love handsome top hat steampunk.
It's got to be steampunk. Dracula for me is like a potential mate. I feel like,
but like if you had to get ravaged by one of his beast forms, which one would you choose and why?
I don't know. Like, honestly, when you talked about the mist and I was like, ooh, mist seems fun. Maybe I'm a mist girl.
Yeah. Just like give a premonition to me.
If I have to choose between wolf and bat, I think I'm definitely going to go wolf.
Okay.
I feel like that is just like a little more exciting. Bat guy is he's a little desiccated. He's a little crusty. His eyes are a little too red. So yeah, I'm going to say definitely wolf, but it's like, for me, it's steampunk, mist, then wolf. How about you?
I would say steampunk, wolf, and then bat, big bat, not the little shrivelly bat at the top of the tower.
Okay.
But big bat at the end, very tall.
You were feeling that bat.
I thought he was like, I mean, he scared me.
Okay, but in a good way. You're like, all right, I'd let this bat do some things to me.
Like, he seemed more powerful, you know, he like the most powerful final form, you know.
Wow.
That was like, you know, interesting to look at.
Honestly, I'm learning so much about your psyche with this pod. I'm learning more about your preferences. No, this has been a real journey, and it's good to like introduce you to films that you like. It seems like we're already interested in rewatching. We have a new favorite.
Yeah, new fave.
And that's what, you know, that's why I wanted to get into it. Keep introducing, like, keep expanding your palette, because there are so many movies like this in the 90s. Like, we haven't 80s and 90s, all VHS classics that we haven't even touched yet. So
I can't wait.
If you listeners, if you have this on VHS, the original VHS, continue watching through the credits. And then after the credit scene, you will find the making of documentary. It is also on YouTube. I will link it in the podcast description. That has been yet another spooky episode of VHS Sisters. I don't even think we introduced ourselves.
And that's fine. You know, they should know. But if you don't know, I'm Melanie.
I'm Saysha. Yeah, I'm Saysha. I'm the big sister. We have been VHS Sisters. And join us next time for another spooky, ooky, creepy and kooky episode. We'll catch you next time.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of VHS Sisters. We hope you've had a fun and cozy time. Please consider liking, leaving a review, and following us on your podcast platform of choice. If you'd like to chat with us, please email us at VHSsisterspodcast@gmail.com. Love you. Bye.